what it means to be an American. America is freedom, and freedom is special and rare.
We, the people of this great nation.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
We, the people.
We, the people
of this great nation.
of this great nation.
Hello, is this Billy?
Yeah,
What's up, buddy? Go, you're live.
Hey. Appreciate it. First of all, thank you for taking my call. Couple of questions, if I may.
Okay.
You are clearly a Trump supporter, am I correct?
Yeah. Not originally, but he's grown on me. What can I say?
Okay. So my question is just, the first question is, do you think there's a way, like, so many guys, I have Biden supporting friends, I have Trump supporting friends, but like, what do you think is the answer to people being able to at least have a discussion without the other person accusing them of either being, a pedophile or like, what happened to disagreeing with somebody's policies? What do you think is the answer, I guess is my question, to having a discussion about different policies without it becoming charges against somebody that are just stupid, like, oh, that means you like to molest kids, or that means you're in it. Like, what do you think is the way in to at least even engage in a discussion civilly? Do you have an opinion about that?
I mean, honestly, in my mind, I feel that the media is the cause, the root to all this. Because look, I'll give you a perfect example. Lindsey Graham went and hugged Feinstein after the hearings for the Supreme Court justice. Everybody was asking for her resignation. A lady that's been sitting there for 40 odd years or more than that, and they're asking for resignation because she hugged somebody from the opposite party. It shouldn't be like that. That's what I try to do in my platform. That's why I keep my platform very open, because I feel people should be able to debate one another and leave it at that.
Right.
I mean, I literally had to do a podcast because I got into a fight with my brother. I haven't talked to my brother in 2 years over politics.
Wow.
And it's a sad thing to see because at the end of the day, presidents come and go, and it's never been this intensified, I don't think, in any other presidential campaign or election. I don't think it's ever been as bad as it is now. There's a lot of division, but I think a lot of it is the way the media twists things. And I'm not just saying CNN or MSNBC. I'm saying Fox News. I'm saying everyone across the board is participating in this. And then our leaders are not helping. These elected leaders showing this diversion, criticizing one another. Donald Trump's not helping either with the tweets and the attacks. They're all playing a giant role into this giant hate. And I don't even think there's an answer to it. I think it's going to change after the election, maybe like 4 or 5 years from now when people start going back to the norm. But it's crazy right now. Times are really crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen any. I've just never seen, anything like it. Have you ever met or spoken with Donald Trump?
No, I haven't, but I believe I might be on Rush Limbaugh's show this week. I haven't announced it yet, but
Okay.
yeah. So I've never even been to a rally of his, to be honest with you.
What are your thoughts on him having these rallies when, like, even his people now, and I'm just talking about Fauci, but like Chris Christie came out and just said, "Boy, did I make a mistake," not really wearing the masks and being protective. I mean, even Chris Christie came out. Apparently, he's really sick, and then he was saying that he's now just saying, "Okay, this has been handled badly." And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, Chris Christie's. Well, we know he's got an underlying issue. He's definitely overweight. But, I mean, I think it should be in the hands of the people. Like, people should be responsible. Like, I wear a mask. I'm not anti-mask. Like, I do it because I want to protect others. Like, I do it because I don't want to be responsible for an older person in my neighborhood or whatnot to get sick because I just refuse to wear a mask because I feel like they're taking away my freedoms. It's not about that. Well, but that being said, he's got to continue moving forward. The country can't just stop. We can't just be at a complete halt and just stop everything we're doing. I just think people are not being responsible. And I think if people are responsible at his rallies, I honestly think this virus is inevitable. Like, I think there's no way of avoiding it. I mean, we saw that Kamala Harris had some of her people get sick too, and we know how she's been acting with the whole social distancing. I mean, they don't come out of the bunker, and she still had people get sick. So it's obviously something that we're still learning a lot about, but as president, he's got to keep moving forward. And I mean, we can't run an election inside a bunker. It just doesn't work that way. The people need to see the president for being strong. The people need to see. I mean, it's just difficult times. It's a virus that we didn't expect. Fauci's gone back and forth on it too. The WHO played a big role. I mean, they recently just came out stating that lockdowns are no good. I mean, that it's worse. It's actually going to cause more long-term problems than the actual virus itself. Because people are actually scared of going to the hospital because they don't want to get sick with COVID-19 when they're having chest pains, and cancer patients are not going to do their therapies because of the COVID-19 and they're scared. So I don't know. It's a very complicated question because these are complicated times and it's something that's very unexpected, and we're learning as time goes on.
Yeah, my issues are like I have a lot of I don't know about you have family members in the military. And, like, at a certain point, though, the thing that I don't get is, like, how many generals, how many Navy SEALs, how many, people would it take to make someone, forget just, them saying losers and I like my war heroes, what would he say about McCain? I like my war heroes not captured and stuff. Like, I have friends of mine who are like, fuck that guy, he dodged the draft, I'm risking my life, and he calls me, like, what do you think it is about, like, if anybody ever made that comment before he was elected, right, about McCain, I like my war heroes not captured, like...
I was a McCain fan, I voted for McCain.
Like, my question is, how is it that, I know there are a lot of veterans that hate him, but I don't get how there's not more. How are there not more people who fight for this country that just say... You don't represent us, dude. You're not, like you said. I mean, Eric Trump went on Hannity years ago. This is before he was president, and he said, and he bragged about his father saying, don't be stupid enough to get drafted. And how do people hear this and still support him? Is my question. These are like the most loyal, countrymen, and he makes fun of them. I don't understand.
Well, I mean, that was his son. But, I mean, look, my stepdad, my dad is a Vietnam vet. He came from Cuba, and he literally enlisted right when he became a citizen. He enlisted. He went to Vietnam willfully, like, to fight for this country. Where my stepdad actually left the Dominican. He kind of did what Trump did. He dodged the draft. But I guess actions speak louder than words. What he's done for the military, the increases in salaries, the enhancing our military, investing money into our military. I mean, what he did with McCain, was it cool? Not really, because McCain was a gentleman. Even when he was running against Obama, he was a gentleman. He refused to attack Obama and go low. I was kind of against that.
Clearly a much better human being. I mean, there's no comparison.
I mean, he was a prisoner of war, and that was one of the main reasons I thought he should have just been elected as president, just because of the sacrifice he did for this country.
Yeah.
But, again, I mean, it's just Trump is different, and Trump is, he finds loopholes, and he openly says it, even with his taxes, like, he finds loopholes. I mean, I can't defend something that can't be defended. You know what I'm saying? I can't defend what he said. I know that he loves our troops. He said it numerous times. At least by action, he's shown that he loves the troops. What he said, on the other hand, is wrong. And I can agree with you. It's completely wrong.
I've just never seen, like, you talk about the news, and, like, I've never seen anybody get away with, like, the things that he said and still gotten support. It's a wild thing. Like, my God, he's just said such hateful things.
Because I think people are voting more on what's better for themselves, and they're not going based on emotion. I've always thought that people that vote on emotion, I mean, look, he's not presidential material. I mean, we can all say that. I mean, openly. I mean, the guy doesn't speak like a president. He doesn't act like a president, but his results speak for themselves. And I think people are just voting basically on what's going to be better for their family and their country. And he's the answer. I mean, and not to mention, the Democrats just don't pick a good candidate. They continue to flop on their candidates. They keep picking these candidates that are just not likable. Joe Biden is likable, but he's got baggage. And I think that they had options. They had other options, but then they push for a specific candidate, and they pick the wrong ones. I mean, they need to groom somebody that can relate to both sides. I thought Tulsi Gabbard was a great candidate, in my opinion. I liked her. And I think she could have flipped a lot of Republicans. I think she could have flipped a hell of a lot of Republicans. But again, the Democrats, the choice, look, it's obvious that if I'm going to choose based on what a president says or based on his actions, I'm gonna go on what his actions are. Has he said stupid shit? Absolutely, and I can completely agree with you on that.
But what about, like, here's my question, like, people with the intelligence agencies, right? Like, and I'm not just talking the FBI and the CIA, other intelligence agencies that have definitively come out and said, yes, Putin put a bounty on our troops. Like all these people. Like, my question is like this: the people that say that's a lie, that never happened, Trump didn't know about it, it's fake news. I mean, in order to accept that, people would have to say that there's a big conspiracy. Everyone is lying just because they don't like him. I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, everyone is lying because they don't like Donald Trump. I mean, at a certain point, I guess my question is, how many people would it take to make someone who's a diehard supporter, no matter what he says, say, maybe he's not telling the truth? I mean, how many people would it take?
I mean, maybe if the media and people were not running all these shams prior to this, maybe Trump supporters would be a little more open-minded.
Okay,
but
that's interesting.
The fact remains is that we were put into a position where they created a Steele dossier, which we already know it's bullshit. They put him through an investigation. They found nothing. Then they impeached him on a Ukraine call, which now we're seeing emails showing that the media seems to ignore, and it's been validated already by one of the people that were on the actual email. I mean, you're saying we've lost trust in the government and in the media.
You're saying that the media, that even if we wouldn't be able to find out exactly what he did, because you're saying even if it's true, we wouldn't know because the media has made it harder to decipher. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've given us trust issues. They've given a lot of people trust issues. I used to watch CNN, and I never saw, like, personal attacks. I never saw such a biased group of people till Trump came around. And then they continue, like, even with that kid, I forget his name, that he sued them. I mean, they made this entire story on that kid, and they didn't even get the facts.
His name is Nick Sandman.
Yeah, and they didn't even get the facts right. And then look, the kid ended up suing him. Now he's going to be a billionaire by the time he's done with all his lawsuits. I mean, it's these things that continuously keep happening, and then the attacks on Trump every single time, asking him, "Are you a white supremacist?" This is a guy that spent most of his 80s hanging out with black activists, civil rights activists like Sharpton, Jesse Jackson.
I would say this though. I worked 6 years on The Apprentice, and
okay.
And I will tell you this: if Mark Burnett released those tapes, you wouldn't believe the stuff. How many times he used the N-word for black people and the K-word for, like, people would be shocked as to when he didn't know the cameras were rolling and the microphone was still on. Like, oh my God, he makes fun of, if he's not a good dude, brother. He really isn't.
But is Biden any better?
Well, he's a better. Like, in other words, like, is he a better human being? Yeah. Like,
I mean, he was friends with the guy that tried to filibuster. He was best friends with the guy that tried to filibuster the civil rights movement, Senator Byrd. I mean, he spoke at his eulogy. I mean, is this really the guy? A guy that not once or twice, 3 times he's actually tried to pass bills that put more African Americans in prison than any other. I mean, he doesn't want his kid to be in a racial jungle. I mean, if you vote for me, you ain't. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I mean, those are pretty racist remarks.
We can agree that that was a stupid joke, right? Like, that was like, if you vote for me, you're not black.
Well, it's the same thing as Hillary and the tobacco sauce. I didn't really take that one that personal, but the mass incarceration bill. I mean, he's done. He was trying to the school busing. I mean, he's done a lot of things that have shown that he's racist. I've seen his it was before my time because I'm young, but luckily there's still videos of this when he spoke on the Senate floor several times when it came to putting black people behind bars and all this stuff. I mean, the guy was pretty bad. I mean, he was pretty bad. I mean, I'm not saying that Trump is perfect, but I mean, from both sides, it's not like we have much of an option here. I mean, they're both. I mean, honestly speaking, if there's a racist card that should be asked to both of them, not just to one.
Yeah, it's interesting how, like, you know, the tweets and the comments and stuff, and I've never seen anything like it. Like, his son goes on Hannity a lot, Eric, right? And he was bragging about his dad saying when he was a kid, like, he's like, I was 6 years old, and my dad always used to say, if you tell the same lie over and over, people will believe you. And I just think, like, you're a young man, you're not a dad yet, am I right?
Yeah, I'm a dad. I have 2 kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old daughter.
Oh, God bless. You're not gonna, it's just, you'd never say that to I mean, maybe as a joke you'd say that or something, but, like, as a, like, you know, just every night making sure, like, guys, if you just remember, if you're lying and you keep saying it, people will believe you. It's like, how crazy is that to tell your kid? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't tell that to my kid.
I mean,
again, keep in mind, this is your standard. Look, everybody has had a moment of racism. Okay, no matter how you look at it. I mean, I've been treated like shit, and I'm Hispanic. Most people don't even know this because they look at me with a beard and all that stuff. I look like a white guy, but I'm Hispanic. And let me tell you, I used to do real estate in Miami, in a very diverse city. And I'm going to tell you, if I used to go into a black neighborhood to buy real estate, they used to kick my cars and everything. I mean, racism goes across the board. It's not just a one-way street. I mean, there's equally amount of racism going from blacks to whites, as to Hispanics to blacks, as to blacks to Hispanics, as to whites to blacks. I mean, racism is something that's taught at home, I believe. I was never taught to be racist. For the most part, I grew up around a lot of black people just because Cubans, a lot of people don't know this, but about 70% of Cubans are black.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, because, you know, there was a lot of slavery. The Spanish brought a lot of slaves into Cuba. So when it was ran by... I've always been with a diverse crowd. I mean, was Trump my first choice when he ran down that escalator? No, it was Rand Paul, actually. That's who I wanted. That's who I was rooting for. I liked him. There was just something about him I liked.
Yeah, mine too. First of all, but thanks for taking the call. One last question. If you found out somehow definitively, like, just you pick one thing, like, that it wasn't fake news, that just, like, let's take one thing of all the accusations, right? Of all the accusations, he did find out that he said to his people, let's not talk about, don't put it out there about the Russian bounty. If somehow you found that out where it wasn't fake and you knew that to be true, would that change your vote for him?
It wouldn't. It would change my vote for him, but it wouldn't change my vote to vote for Biden.
So you wouldn't vote?
Yeah, I just I wouldn't choose either way. I can't support Biden. I can't support what he stands for. I know what that man is going to destroy this country. I think I use common sense politics. I'm not a person that studied politics in deep. I look at what's going to benefit my family and then my country.
Right.
And Biden has nothing he's going to offer that's going to bring to the table. He's going to take us backwards. I mean, that's just my honest opinion.
I appreciate your time. I wish, sounds like we disagree on stuff, but I appreciate your being respectful and not screaming and telling me to go
Oh,
to
I'll
hell.
never be like that, man, dude. Listen, a lot of people here, they find me to be a very odd conservative because I agree on a lot of things that the Democrats say. I can't justify what's wrong. If something's wrong, it's wrong. Like, there's no way around it. Like, I mean, just because you believe in a president or you support a president, you can't just agree with everything he says.
Oh, he wasn't. Listen, just for the record, Biden's not my first choice or whatever. Do my instincts tell me that he's a more decent human being? Is he someone like, forget president, forget public, I'm with two people in a room and I have a secret to share? Would I trust that, like, one person would be more honest and just decent to my kids and kinder and a better, just purely better human? Yeah, he's clearly like, Donald Trump has never had a reputation among people that like him and say, what a really good guy. Like, nobody's ever said that about, and this is way before president, like, nobody's ever said, like, yeah, he's a loyal guy, he's really smart, he cares about, like, these aren't adjectives that have been described to him ever. And across the board, Biden is, at least even amongst Republicans, nobody's said that's a bad human being, right?
But they have called him a dummy. I mean, they've called him one of the dumbest senators. I mean, he graduated almost last in his class. I mean, he lied about how he graduated as well. I mean, he literally stole. I mean, he's ran for president twice, and every single time there's a scandal. Every time he runs for president. I mean, the candidate was just bad. It was a bad pick on the Democrats.
Would you be shocked if they announce that he wins?
I don't think he's going to win. I mean, I travel. I've been looking at numbers, and I've actually been going deep into this. For example, like Michigan, they're neck and neck on mail-in, which is not a good sign for Democrats because we all know Republicans like to vote in person. As well as, and I mean, I just drove through my neighborhood and I went to one of the voting polls just to see what it was, and it was all MAGA hats. I mean, I highly doubt this man's going to win I think he's going to flip Minnesota. I think he's just going to... I think that the Antifa people, I think BLM has actually damaged him instead of helped him. I think they've actually damaged his candidacy, and this new stuff that just came out is just too hard to ignore. Like, it's just way too hard to ignore. Do I think he can keep a secret? Of course he can keep a secret. He's been keeping secrets about the finances of his family for well over a decade. I mean, do I think that he might be nice to kids? Yeah, he likes to sniff them. I mean, these are things I've seen on videos. These are not things But do I think Trump is a great person? No. Do I think Trump is really pro-life? Absolutely not. I don't think he's pro-life. I mean, he's running as a Republican, so he's got to run on the pro-life platform, but I don't think he's pro-life.
You want to know something? You're 1,000%, like I say, I will tell you this, I wasn't going to bring it up. I worked with him for 6 years, like day to day, every day. You're absolutely right. He was pro-choice. There's a woman that he actually, I mean, I wasn't there or whatever, but apparently everyone was talking about that he got a mistress pregnant and was yelling at her to get them. But, like, I got to tell you, like, he's a really, really bad guy. And he will screw anybody if he, to get, like, just like, again, if Mark Burnett ever released these tapes of things that he said privately, not knowing that he's on, that he can be heard by the crew and a bunch of people.
Well, I mean, we saw a little bit. Grab him by the pussy.
But dude, that is when I say iceberg. Oh my God, he makes fun of Hispanics. He makes fun of Jews. He makes fun of black. I mean, if you're not a rich white guy, he hates you. And keep this in mind too. He inherited over $400 million by the time he was 20. This whole self-made man thing is ridiculous. He inherited, can you imagine this? He inherited $425 million when he was 25. He lost it in 6 years. He went back, he declared, when The Apprentice came out, he had declared bankruptcy for the 6th time, losing $970 million in business in 10 months. He's failed at everything he's done, right? And yet this is someone who, we made up the set. Boardroom, that's a fake set. There was no boardroom in Trump. Like, nothing about that was real. And people watched that show going, oh my God, this self-made, brilliant, none of that's true. It's all made up.
You should have been recording this stuff, man.
What?
You should have been recording all this shit so you could have been a whistleblower.
Here's the crazy thing. Mark Burnett, the producer of the show, he has it all. All of this is recorded. You know.
And why doesn't he release it?
He's a huge Trump supporter. He and his wife were on it. I mean, you know that guy Tom Arnold, right? He was married to Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
He was like, he said, if one day came out of the things that Trump said a day in the 14 seasons, he said people wouldn't believe it. People wouldn't believe, like, again, like if you're Hispanic, if you're black, essentially if you are not a wealthy white person, man, oh my God, is he making fun of you? He is making fun of you. He's making fun of your family.
You know what? I'll take your word for it because you were there. I'll take your word for it. I wish there was the evidence. I wish the evidence was there, man. I wish they would have.
But look, you're getting me crazy because if Mark Burnett released it, when you say why aren't you recordings, there's 14.
I can promise you, if I would have heard any of that, he would have lost my vote.
Like, dude, that's why it's like we all talk about when we get together, like, cast and crew and people that did it. We just go, could you imagine if Burnett released these tapes? Could you imagine, what he says about, women and making fun of people who are autistic and kids in return? Like, we all just say, if a day came out, pick one day where the microphone stays on. That when they say cut, the mic is still on, so the sound guy can hear everything. And we were always saying, like, could you imagine if a day, you could pick any day of the 14 seasons, and if you just let it go for a day and people heard it, they wouldn't believe it.
To his defense, I can't say that there has been people that have said he's an amazing guy, like Herschel Walker. He has spoken on his behalf, and he's known him for about 27, 30 years. He said that guy's great. He's been with him in Disney World and everything, that he's never seen a sign of racism. But, again, he might be different behind closed doors. People don't really see a real person.
He called, as a matter of fact, it's weird that you use Herschel Walker. God, I wish this came out. He used to call Herschel Walker the monkey. And because you know that he was on the show, Herschel Walker.
Oh, wow.
You
want me to tell you something? I never watched one of his shows. I never watched The Apprentice at all.
You wouldn't. Talking to you now, I can tell you this because you're clearly a kind, compassionate, smart.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna. Put it this way: if you, I could almost guarantee you. I obviously don't know you well enough to say this, but I would bet 90% that if you came with me one of those days and just happened to be a fly on the wall, Trump wouldn't be getting your vote. There's just no way. You wouldn't look at you said you have a daughter. Like, there's just no way.
Of course not. Of course not. I would agree with you 100%. If he said, if I was to personally hear him saying any racial remark or criticizing women or saying anything that doesn't stand for what I believe in, I would definitely not vote for him.
That was all the time. Like, there wasn't a day that he didn't throw the M and the word around. There wasn't a day. If that was your criteria, that you couldn't, like, every day we would be making fun of.
I was pissed off just when I saw him with the comment of McCain. I voted for McCain. I voted for McCain.
So did I. We've agreed with Rand Paul on McCain. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, you would not. I wish I had let me put it this way. If I had those tapes and you heard them, you would not be voting for Donald Trump. I could guarantee you that, talking to you now for 15 minutes, whatever it's been. This is not a person that you would say, I want representing my kids. Forget just the country and the big, we talk about big stuff like just you have children in the world, and this would not be someone you would want them saying, that's my president. I guarantee it. There's just no chance. He is a bad dude, brother. He really is.
You want me to tell you something? I wish, every time I think back in history, he's done great for the economy. Granted, he has, but it's not him who's doing it. He's got his staff. He's got a staff that's handling this. The guy that's handling the money and the economies is really, I forget his name, but he comes out every once in a while on Fox News. He's really the brains behind everything. But,
and also the problem is, like, and what it is, this is the thing, is like, I can have a conversation with you, you can have a conversation with me, you disagree with me about stuff, but you're not, like, putting me down, my kids down, stuff like that. Like, but my thing is, like, what can you say to somebody? Like, there are people that with the QAnon stuff that believe that, like, Tom Hanks and Hillary Clinton are selling babies and drinking their blood and this and
I don't even know anything about that because
No,
my
here's the question. When I just there's certain people where it's like, I don't know, where you just can't have a discussion. It's like, no, Tom Hanks isn't selling babies and drinking their blood. Like that's like not happening, dude. I mean,
I highly doubt Tom Hanks is drinking anybody's blood. I actually wanted to be an actor, so I'm actually friends with a famous director in Hollywood. I'm not going to mention his name but I've actually I was even friends with James Franco. I mean, I've been around that. I spent 10 years of my life trying to pursue my acting career. Never worked out. But I was always an entrepreneur on the side. Like, I always thought money, I got to maintain a family. So I had to always. So I know that world, and it's not as bad as people think it is. I've never been, and I've gone to a lot of Hollywood parties. I've never seen underage girls there. I mean, if there is any underage girls, they look like adults. And they were lying to the people that were there. So.
There's just a lot of I just like I say my biggest thing having worked on the show is I wish those tapes came out. He would not be president if years ago if any of those tapes came out. Nobody would.
Now, something that might make you feel pretty good is I have accepted, like I have said it numerous times on my podcast and on my stream, if Biden is elected as president of the United States, I will respect him as my president. I will consider him my president. I will never say he's not my president. See, I'm not one of those guys that like the anti-Trumpsters. He's not my president. I live in the U.S., bro. Whoever's president is my president. That's it. Like, it is what it is. Obama, I didn't agree with his policies, but I thought he was a well-spoken man. I thought he made the country look pretty well when he spoke on the stand. I was against a couple of things he did, like visiting Raul Castro. I was kind of pissed off at that one. But aside from that, I mean, I've always accepted the outcome of the elections. I've always accepted it. I've never really. I know what I stand for, and I know, and let me tell you, I'm really weird because I'm like pro-life, but I'm also like pro-choice. It's kind of weird to be in between, but I'm like in between. I just think there should be like some sort of limitation because I have family members, I'm not going to mention who, have had like 4 or 5 abortions just because I haven't had safe sex. I mean, it gets to a point where you're like, you got to pay the consequences for your actions, bro. I mean, one time, okay, but like 5 times, come on. I mean,
right.
But
I appreciate your time and respect and.
So you're out there in New York.
Your family.
You're out there in New York now?
I live in New York. Yeah, I've been in New York my whole life.
I hope you're doing good out there, man. I know you guys are doing good on numbers with the COVID-19. You guys are doing a hell of a good job now. So hopefully you stay safe out there.
Stay safe. God bless.
God bless you too, buddy. I mean, these people are so fucking corrupt. I mean, who can we trust nowadays, really? I mean, really, like who can we really fucking... I mean, there's even people in the Republican side that has gotten contributions from these big tech companies, and they claim that they're not bought and paid for, and it's like, and they're receiving money. They're fucking receiving money from these big tech companies that they say they're going to blockade, and they're going to block them from censoring people. So it's hard to believe that anything's going to even come out of this, because I think big tech companies buy everybody. I don't think they just focus on the Democrats. I think they focus on every party. I think that once people, a good friend of mine, I told him one time, and he's got a good background. I'm not going to mention his name, but I asked him one time, man, you could easily, with your background in law and all that stuff, you can easily run for Congress, and I think you would win. And he told me, you know what? He goes, I would never run for Congress. And I go, why? He goes, because I know they would corrupt me. And I was like, for real? And he goes, I know they would corrupt me. When they start lobbying me and stuff like that, he goes, I would accept it. Because unfortunate, greed blinds people. Money blinds people. And people like to live a lifestyle that's great, an amazing lifestyle where everything... Meanwhile, the American people are here electing people thinking that they have their best interests at heart, but they don't. And then we're left behind. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's just very, very interesting. I mean, the country's torn apart. I just want to see everybody get along, man. And I want to see this fucking election be done with. Be over and done with. Chatty, you're right. Yeah, I know. I mean, look, again, I feel like the Democrats picked a bad candidate. They didn't pick a candidate that people feel comfortable backing. Just because of his background and all that stuff. Which is the reason that Obama told him not to run for president. Obama told him not to run for president because they knew he would not win the election. And he's not going to win this election either. He's not going to win this election. I'm telling you, I can see the momentum of Trump's side. I have friends in Miami that they're going through poll by poll, looking and seeing, and everybody's saying the same thing, bro. Pro-Trump, early voting. Everybody is voting for Trump all across the state of Florida, man. I mean, I've been in communication with so many of my sources, and they're all telling me that these polls are, the pollings are packed, jam-packed, and lines across blocks. And it's all Trump supporters. Yeah, you'll have some Biden supporters in there, but I mean, for the most part, you can tell that they're Trump supporters. You can tell that they're Trump supporters, you know, so... well, anyways, on a more positive side, I wanted to show you guys something interesting, because, you know, I always let you guys in. On my personal life as well. I found a new home for my boat. So now I'm going to be able to go fishing and chilling and relaxing. I actually bought boating gear that says the Republican Nation. I have the clothes and everything for boating that says the Republican Nation on it. And interesting enough, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you this. So this is actually where my office is at. This is my office. This is right here. It's a little further down that way, but I found the place where I can actually have a boat lift, where my boat is actually out of the water. That way I don't have to paint the boat. So it's pretty dope. I found the spot. Oh, yeah, that's my new gear that I bought for the podcast. Amazing. It changed the whole thing completely. So I parked my boat there. It has a lift. I can easily reverse, go out into the Gulf, and go boating. And this was with my daughter. I was baking. This is my wife and my son. We were baking this weekend. And then I had to throw in, of course, because I always take everything to a whole new level. Well, bam. I bought that in Mexico, man. Oh, and this is the new gear. This is the new gear that just came in. I was so happy when I received. This is what I'm wearing right now. This is what I'm wearing right now, and this. But I ordered a bunch of gear, like weather, like winter gear. Like it's pretty dope stuff, man. I mean, the store's pretty cool. It's got a. This is the sign that's causing fucking havoc over there in the Dominican Republic. Okay. Again, I love showing this video because kind of weird too, but hey, I guess it's not weird. It was funny. It was just me and my wife there. But so I decided I wanted to start using the Peloton bike. I've said this story already, but it's just funny because you know how you sometimes do something and you think you're doing an amazing job and you think that you're like the baddest guy out there. I swear to you, I thought I was going so fast on that Peloton bike. I thought I was in great shape. I was like, damn, I'm a badass. I'm a badass. Wow. Dude, look at how slow I'm going. And this was a clip. This was actually a clip that I put up while I was using the Peloton bike, and this was one of the better clips. Okay, I'm going super slow, guys. Like, I'm going extremely slow. Like, I thought I was going, in my mind, I was going super fast till I saw the footage. And then I was like, oh shit, am I going slow? This sign I put, me and a partner of mine, a partner of mine in the Dominican Republic. He's a Harvard grad. He's an entrepreneur over there, and his dad was a general in the Dominican Republic. But he's also, he studied in Harvard. So he's got, I believe he's got dual citizenship. We partnered up together and we put this sign in the Capitol. It's the first time in the history that's ever been done. You can't really see it unless, right here, therepublicannation.com and Juan Basham. We actually sponsored this, and I've been actually getting a lot of buzz on this, which is why I'm getting interviewed left and right. I've been getting calls from all sorts of like newspapers and all that stuff. I don't even know where it's coming out at, but yeah, it's out there. It's out there. I mean, I've got messages that they've sent me. People have oh no, they sent it to me at the Republican Nation. Okay, I don't know how to get to the Republican Nation. Whatever. So yeah, so people have been. You know, I'm doing every little bit that I can to at least promote the guy that I want to be president. I'm putting in my part, and I wanted to be a part of history. It's never been done in the Dominican Republic where somebody endorses in the Dominican Republic an American presidential candidate, and I thought it was cool that I did that, and that the Dominican Republic is acknowledging it, and Donald Trump has a lot of support in the Dominican Republic. It's very shocking because I didn't expect him to have the support that he has. He's got a lot of support in the Dominican Republic. A lot of support. But that being said, I mean, it's been quite an interesting journey. It's been quite an interesting journey, and I'm excited, man. And this isn't gonna stop. Even if Biden wins the election, I'm gonna continue to. I mean, I'm just expanding. You see where this flag is at? There's gonna be a door there. The flag's gonna still stay there, but I'm getting the other portion of the office. So I'm gonna have two. My office is expanding. Even though this office is pretty big, it doesn't look like it. But this is just one portion of it. Then I have that whole side over there. But I'm just expanding, and every little bit counts, guys. I know that it's not a lot to ask for. I'm trying to actually make a business out of this, and I'm actually trying to do this as a permanent thing. So if you guys could subscribe, it's $4 a month. It helps me out a bunch, believe it or not, because when you get you get to a point where you're making enough money to cover your expenses. I haven't even covered my investment. I don't think I ever will. But if you guys can subscribe to me, you get cool emojis, and it helps me out. And it only costs $4. It's not really Yeah, sub here. Yeah, you go to in Twitch. If you get a subscription, it's a little bit different than following. You get the emojis. Yeah, that's my left-leaning one. But I've got a lot of mega ones and pretty cool ones. If you subscribe, you get some emojis and you help me out, which is, you're subbed? No, I think you followed me. I don't know what Biden is doing, to be honest with you. I think he's out on the campaign on the. I don't see the little star. Crooked. I haven't seen anything about. Let me see what Trump had to say.
Find out. We want to do it. I want to do it at a bigger number than she wants. That doesn't mean all the Republicans agree with me, but I think they will in the end. If she would go along, I think they would too. On stimulus.
Senate Republicans outright rejected an administration plan to spend $1.8 trillion, and President Trump doesn't have a lot of political capital now among some Republicans. Republicans in a few competitive races are trying to distance themselves from the president. It's also hard to see how the administration would agree to a bill which would require Democratic votes to pass. There seems to be a disconnect between the president and many Senate Republicans.
No, he is willing to go higher than my members are. We've spent a lot of time on this. And, but even the president's higher number, she's not willing to match anyway. So I don't think that leads to an outcome.
Yeah, Mitch, you need to fucking figure something out, and you need to get your eggs in a row. I mean, your ducks in a whatever the fuck the saying is. Yeah, I believe in term limits, man, and Trump ran on that, but they gotta vote on it. So it's like, who's gonna vote to release their power? That's like, who's gonna vote to release their power? It's never gonna happen. They would have to vote on it themselves, and nobody's gonna want to lose power. Those seats are, I mean, there's seats there that literally, bro. There's a guy, a senator that was in the Judiciary Committee. I forgot his name. He's a Democrat. He's about 88 years old. He's actually sat there. This is how scary this shit is. This is how scary this shit is. He's actually sat there for all the current Supreme Court justices that are right now there. He's voted on every Supreme Court justice that's there. That should be fucking scary. That's fucking scary, man. That guy's been there for all the Supreme Court justices that are currently sitting there. That guy's been there that long. He's the guy that sounded a little bit like Larry Flynn. He's he had that little voice or whatever. He came out on a monitor. That's fucking crazy. I mean, but these people don't like letting go of that power. They don't like that nice little paycheck they get either. I mean, fuck, 175 is it that they get paid, or 150,000 a year? It's not a bad salary. Plus, everything else gets paid for, like their stay, wherever they're staying at in Washington, D.C. A lot of these things get paid for by the government. Their security detail, all that stuff. So it's a good feeling to walk out of a car and have 2 Secret Service agents protecting you, or whatever. Or Washington, D.C. police, whatever the case may be. It's pretty good to be driven around everywhere. I mean, there's some perks to being a senator. I think this is the guy. I'm not. No, this
Act of March last year for PPP. So in the neighborhood of 300 billion, I believe, 100 billion for K through 12, and lesser amounts for testing and for getting the vaccines around.
Okay, so it would be a slimmer bill, and you think you can get that through expeditiously. Very interesting. Go ahead.
Well, we think that maybe Democrats don't like it, but if you want to move things here, you got to at least bring things up for discussion. So the first vote is going to be, shall we even have a discussion of this
guy's
bill?
probably been in office for like a decade too.
If the Democrats don't give us 60 votes for that, then they're really saying they don't want anything. Even if there's good bipartisan agreement on all the parts, they want to stall it. Probably blame Republicans and hope for something that Pelosi can get done. But if she can't get it done, then what we need to do is move ahead with this bill with the 60 votes, and then the way the Democrats want to change in the Senate, let them offer amendments. But you can't even offer amendments till you get the bill up.
Yes or no, and then I got to move on. Is it helpful to have the President of the United States come to the Hill to help get something done?
Well, I think that that
crazy,
is helpful,
bro.
because there is response by Republicans in the Senate.
To be honest with you, look, there's days that I wake up and I think to myself, Trump's got it in the bag. Then there's days I come in and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. Then there's days I come in, is this going to end up in the Supreme Court justice? Then there's days I come in and I'm, is there going to be a civil war? Then there's days I don't know what the fuck to think anymore. To be honest with you, I don't know what to think anymore. It's just insane, because between mail-in ballots, it's kind of weird that this guy pierced his nose. I mean, he's a little too old for that shit. But whatever. I strongly believe, by what I'm physically seeing and what my sources are telling me, I strongly believe that Donald Trump is going to win. My opinion. I could be wrong. But I strongly believe Trump is going to win. I'm telling you, I'm looking at the polls. I'm like, I have people everywhere. I even have my friend in swing states telling me how's it looking. In Michigan, I looked at the numbers the other day. It's looking pretty good for them. As in mail-in voting, already Trump is kind of like head and head with him, and Republicans vote in person. I think that if Trump gets reelected, people are going to hit the streets. And I know that I'm going to get invited to his inauguration, because I did last time, and I'm going to go this time. I plan on going this time. I don't know what's going to happen. Guys, today I got to cut it a little bit short. I got a little bit of work to do. Guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your conversation. Thank you for everything. Don't forget to listen to my podcast, therepublicannation.com. You can listen to it on Alexa, on every platform, Apple, everything. I go straight in. I'm going to be uploading a new one today with the new system, and you guys are going to be pretty impressed. That being said, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. God bless you. God bless your families. And God bless this beautiful country we call America.